best way to get better at programming is to practice. In this example, we're going to work with an array, looping through it, summing all the data that's inside of it. As always, this starter file is available for you using a link in the description below. We'll wait for a second for you to download it, and then you can follow along. All right, so let's get started. As you notice, we've included several files that we've needed already. We have a const array size of 10. We've initialized our random number generator. We've created the array, and we've given some default values to it. So let's look at how are we going to go about the process of looping through the array and summing the values. Well, the first thing we're going to need is we're going to need another integer to hold our total. I'm going to say int, and I'm just going to go ahead and call this total. Next, we're going to create another for loop. Now, you'll look at this and go, wait a second, this looks exactly like that previous loop, and you're very, very close. It is almost identical. Our body is going to be different. Our setup is the same, including declaring the variable I. That's because if you remember from our previous example, if you look at this for loop, it looks almost identical to the previous one, only the body is different. The reason we can redeclare and reuse I is because I is local to the for loop. We discussed this in our previous video, so we won't go into that again. So instead, let's just go about the process of adding to total. So I can say total plus equals, that's that augmented operator from our previous video. And we're going to say values, and we're going to use the square brackets to specify we're at index I. Semicolon, and we are good to go. And this is going to loop through and handle our entire array. That's all we have to do. It's very, very simple. Now, some languages might have a built-in sum feature. We don't have that. And some of that's simply just because of the language age. Because C and C++ are older languages that have been around a lot longer, they had to work on machines that did not have nearly the computing power, memory space, etc. So you can see that while we had to do it, it's not very difficult. Now all we're going to do is say cout. The total for the array is, and then we'll give it total. We go ahead and run this. Forgot to define and say that total is equal to 0. We need to give it the initial value. Once we fix that, we get our answer. We close this, we can run it again. We get a different answer because we have different default values because they're being randomly generated. One more time, you can see it's different again. If I want to have a different size array and make this work, all I have to do is change this array size. So I'm going to go from 10 to 100 elements, run this, and notice my numbers are bigger because I have more elements to add up, but it takes almost no more time. That's the speed of the modern computer for you. So changing this between 10, 100, or even 1,000 elements is not going to dramatically change the performance of your application. So very simple, very easy to do. If this video helped you out, please give it a like and look at other videos in this series on learning how to get better at programming in C and C++.